Dear viewer, this is not the feature film Memories. This is a podcast discussing the film and its English dub. If you want to watch the film, you can do so by buying the Blu-ray courtesy of Discotek. Please support the official release. Thank you. Warning! The Dub Talk podcast may contain language and content that is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. There will be spoilers for the film Memories, so please keep that in mind if you do not wish to be spoiled. Finally, the views and opinions expressed are those of the individuals and do not reflect the Dub Talk podcast as a whole.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to the Season 5 finale of Dub Talk's Summer at the Movies. Yay!
We did it!
We did it, fam! I'm Stephanie, your captain, and I'm here with Megan and Amon.
Hi.
God, there's a lot of crap out there. don't these animals ever clean up after themselves? Look at that.
You're asking a lot.
Look at that. That
you
entire
realize.
space shuttle just got obliterated because a screw flew into it at 80 miles an hour. Jesus Christ.
You're asking for a lot, you know. Why did you take this job if you're gonna just freaking complain the whole time?
Capitalism. And bills.
Fair.
Hey guys! There's
Yes,
like
Megan?
a little tiny naked man-child statue chasing me and it started shooting lasers.
Oh, that's bad.
That's bad. That's some Doctor Who shit.
Oh god, you're fucking right.
Did you watch the bloopers or no? Okay, never mind.
I didn't, but I'm not gonna lie. Do you know what was going through my head the entire time I fucking saw them?
What?
Oh my god, this is that fucking Titanic episode with David Tennant.
Anyway, now considering we've had some pretty big films as finales in past seasons of Summer at the Movies, well, today we have a hefty one for you, as Dub Talk brings you our review of the brand new English dub for the 1995 anthology film Memories, which was recently rescued by Discotek and has dubs produced from both NYAV Post and Sound Cadence Studios. Holy shit. Talk about surprise dubs, everyone. Talk about surprises, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And to start this trip into space, the three of us are here to cover probably the most well-known of the trio of shorts, Magnetic Rose, which was directed by Koji Morimoto, has a script by the late Satoshi Kon, and music by the legendary Yoko Kanno. So you know you're in for a hell of a time. As for a real quick summary on this short specifically, based on a manga short by Katsuhiro Otomo, two space travelers following a distress signal are drawn into a magnificent world created by one woman's memories. That is as basic of a summary as I can get from ANN, because this short is like, 45 minutes? And oh my god.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Like, believe it or not, I was watching some of the special features on the disc, and they took the concept that Otomo had, Kon and Morimoto, and they basically fleshed everything out. It was like, oh my god.
What if one lady could not let go, but in space?
But in space. Change her name
it's
to
great
Elsa.
expectations. Fucking
Shit.
Mrs. Havisham on a big spaceship.
Yes!
Oh, good Lord Almighty, you're fucking right, and I hate it.
So weirdly
I
enough-
hate it. Were you all also forced to read that in 9th grade too, or is that just Florida?
I did not read it.
I think we read it in 10th grade.
I did not read it in my school.
Wow, look at Steph getting out of it.
I like that book.
I hated that book, I'm sorry.
It is very long.
Listen, I just
like
like
the
the
part-
Scarlet Letter, alright?
I like the part where Mrs. Havisham catches herself on fire.
I took a drink of my coffee.
Okay, there's like a movie version of it, and that scene is actually fucking hilarious in the movie.
Okay. Alright. Believe it or not, for the three of us at least, this is our first time ever really watching the film Memories. So it's very weird.
I saw Memories. Okay, I had at least seen clips of it because of a Disney AMV compilation where Memories was set to I think the music where Belle finds the rose like the first time. Anyway.
Yeah, I also saw this for the first time this week, despite owning the DVD since I was like in college.
Same thing basically with me.
I then got very mad at myself because.
Let's see, this is your brand of shit, 100%, dude.
I'm not actually mad, but a part of me is irritated that I can't be on all three parts of this episode to talk about the whole thing.
I know!
Because these are all extremely for me.
Oh my god. Like, it's crazy how this came about, and it's just a surprise out of nowhere. Especially with Magnetic Rose, because this is the last thing related to Satoshi Kon that got rescued and dubbed, essentially. Mm-hmm. This was the missing piece. Everything else was picked up and either new dub or re-released. But this was one thing.
This was the last one.
Unless Dream Machine ever gets finished, which sadly seems vanishingly unlikely the more time goes on.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely. Or you could do a dub for the live-action film World Apartment Horror that Kon worked on as well. That could be an option.
That'd be fun.
That'd be kind of fun. Anyway, I hope y'all are ready for a hell of a trip, because I know I sure am. So, thankfully the cast is relatively small, so this should be a breeze to get through. Alright, so let's get started with our ADR staff. So we have our ADR director, our assistant ADR director, and 2 script writers on this project. As I previously stated, Memories in general was dubbed between 2 studios. The short Magnetic Rose was done on the NYAV Post side. So that means we have our ADR director, who is Michael Sinter-Nicholas, who has also directed series and films such as Fulukuli Progressive and Alternative, Mirai, which was also covered this season, and Premiere, which was covered last year. Our assistant ADR director was Stephanie Shea, who has assisted on other series and films such as Great Pretender, Oko's Inn, and Time of Eve. And our scriptwriters, so Stephanie Shea is pulling double duty. She is one of the writers. She has written for shows and films such as Aquarian Age, the movie, Duel Masters, and Lou Over the Wall. And our main scriptwriter for this short in particular, is Justin Tsvakis, who he works for Discotech, primarily known more for in-house work such as Blu-ray authoring and encoding. And Memories in general is actually his first major writing gig that he's had as a main writer. So that's very interesting. So at this stage, I feel like round robin styling it will be fun. So what do we think of the directing and writing on Magnetic Rose?
This is beautiful.
It is.
A thing I appreciated, which there's some bonus featurettes on the Blu-ray if you get it. Mm-hmm. Justin briefly talks about how, especially for Magnetic Rose, he wanted to tap into kind of a certain brand of 90s sci-fi horror. He pointed to Event Horizon as kind of something he was going for. Mm-hmm. That's just actually the first thing that came to mind when I first watching it. It's oh, this is Alien. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this sounds like Alien too. Wow. Yeah. This
I mean, considering the Japanese did a direct fucking call out to Alien.
Oh, I have a fun fact related to that. Would you like to hear a fun fact?
Yes.
So,
we love fun
in the movie,
here.
Our female lead, Ava, she had a long-term boyfriend who she almost married named Carlo Rambaldi. Carlo Rambaldi is also the name of a real person. He is an Italian special effects guy. He worked on Alien. He's the guy who designed the, where the xenomorph opens his mouth and little thing pops out. That's him. Yeah. He also worked on E.T., which I find very funny.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very
my favorite horror movie, E.T.
And my fun grisly fact is earlier in his career he worked on a Lucio Fulci movie called let me see, I had the title here, called A Lizard in Woman's Skin. And probably there's a scene where you see the aftermath of some violence against some dogs, which he did the effects for. And apparently these were so realistic that Lucio Fulci got prosecuted for animal cruelty. And Rambaldi had to show up in court with his, like, props to show, like, no, we did not injure actual dogs. This is fake.
Oh my god.
And Lucci was, like, in real danger of being sent to jail for this. So, guys good at his job.
That's a master craftsman at work right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Holy shit! That's funny. I mean, that's not great, but it's still funny.
It's funny because he didn't go to jail, and no dogs were actually harmed.
Oh, I mean...
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, I guess going to court over, like, your special effects is a good thing if they're that realistic, so he did his fucking job.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's why he gets a character named after him in here.
Oh my god.
Back to the dub, though. This sounds really, really good. There's obviously Cohen didn't direct this, but you can feel a lot of his like fingerprints on it, as like screenwriter. And something I like a lot about Cohen's work is how even if they are very fantastical, they feel very grounded. And I feel like this dub captures that very well. A lot of this sounds like something where, like, if I was not looking at the screen, this was just playing somewhere, I might assume this is like a live action movie that I'm watching, not something that's been like constructed as a dub.
Yeah. I know in the special features for the making of Memories, Justin mentions that he tried to stick closer to the original source material as humanly possible. Because, the translation is very weird. So the translation for this and the original subtitles were a rush job, they found out. That because they had to do it for like a film festival, and those subtitles kept getting reused and reused over and over again, and nobody checked them over. So when they looked at the translation and all that stuff, like for realsies, and actually sat through it, at that point Justin wanted to try and keep the script as close as humanly possible, because, as he puts it, as both a fan and someone working in the industry, like, people like scriptwriters and directors like to put their own stamp on things. He was like, if he didn't want to do that to this film because it stands on its own. And besides, he's like, I think I got that out of my system like 20 years ago. So that's a good thing, which is great. I will say I appreciate some fun little lines, because there are a couple small things that you could put in a modern context, but I think it's really fun. There's this one scene in particular, because the writing's straightforward. There's this one scene where Hines and Miguel first get on the ship, and Miguel sees this holographic image of Ava, and he tries to go rush out to her, but then idiot doesn't know it's a hologram. And frickin' Hines makes a comment at him, and essentially Miguel's response is like, well, I guess she ghosted me. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, because something like that, it works in both modern context and older context.
You're talking about the ghosting line?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I really like that line.
That actually worked very nicely. It works so nicely. I love it. So the writing, I think, is really solid. What did you think, Megan, of the writing?
Yeah, I was actually surprised that how solid the writing was on this, and I guess Stephanie stepped in when she needed to, but having a less experienced ADR scriptwriter for this, and Justin, was a bit of a risk in my opinion, but he did a really great job. I don't know how much I like the comment that people like to stick their touches on their writing in ADR writing. I don't necessarily 100% agree with that. But I think, to me, also the thing that should be talked about is how good the directing and the casting is on this movie.
Absolutely.
I think that they took a big risk with some of the actors they pulled in. I think that the work on the movie the dub was fantastic. I'd like to credit NYAV Post with, I don't know if the person who plays the daughter is an actual child. I'm going to assume yes.
She is.
Good. I like that. Good job, NYAV Post, because it was really helped sell a lot of those moments with Emily, in my opinion.
Funny story, fun fact about Emily, apparently, is, Justin did a little interview segment for not only the the dub premiere on Twitch, but it ended up on the Blu-ray set with Michael Cinder Nicholas. And Michael made the comment of yeah, we found a girl who basically matched the laugh of the Japanese Emily. I'm not even kidding. And when they had a side-by-side of the Japanese laugh of Emily versus the English, I'm like, oh my god! It was so scary similar.
That is pretty cool.
That is amazing.
But I genuinely enjoyed the directing and writing of this. That's all I really have, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a very good dub. It's not necessarily a very flashy dub.
No, it's
which is appropriate for what the short is. So
right.
I don't think that's a mark against it.
No, yeah, like the directing on this is really solid because this is kind of a more subtle, understated kind of short. Weirdly enough, compared to the other two. So, considering how over the top Stink Bomb is and how aesthetically and artistically speaking, how much more artistry is in Cannon Fodder, it's like, this one's kind of more subtle, which actually is amazing considering how much it stands out. But, no, I really love the directing, and the writing was really solid to me. Do we feel like we can move on?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, this short doesn't have a lot of characters. So, our first set of characters, we're going to talk about a couple of people from the ship Corona, as well as our lead's daughter. So we have Ivanov, Aoshima, and Emily. So Ivanov is the captain of the Corona. Aoshima is one of the crew members of the Corona, and Emily
He's the computer
Heinz.
guy.
He's the computer guy. And Emily is Heinz's daughter, who we find out is actually dead. And weird fun fact, so the 4 crewmen of the Corona are all named after different kinds of beers.
Are they really?
Yes, they are.
Wait.
It's in the liner notes, I'm not kidding. I looked at it,
Okay, you have to tell me
night.
which beer they are.
So Heinz is the American one. Miguel is, I believe, Philippines. Ivanov is Belgium. And Aoshima... So Aoshima and Miguel, their names are a slight different translation or different writing for the actual beer names. But Aoshima would be Japan. And of course you have Corona...
Yeah, there we go.
As the ship. So I'm like, what the fuck? I read that in the liner notes last night. I'm like, oh my god. But anyway.
Heinz?
So,
what beer is Heinz? If they're doing Heineken, that's Dutch.
Well, Japan thinks otherwise. But anyway. So, in terms of who voices these characters, Ivanov is voiced by Frank Todaro, who has voiced characters such as Rodrigo in Dragon Quest Your Story, Rikaku in Night is Short Walk On Girl, and I will butcher this name, but fuck it. Chodokin in Sword Art Online Alicization. The fucking creepy-ass clown dude.
Chodokin's first time!
Thank you. Aoshima.
I have to say the thing! If you kill them, I'll let you do anything you want, but no motorboating, you little bitch!
Anyway. Aoshima is voiced by Derek Stephen Prince, who has voiced characters such as Dr. Rudy Gillen in Monster, Koji in Time of Eve, and I didn't finish this, Arashi Nagise. Who the fuck is that?
In what?
I didn't write the show! I wrote the character, but I didn't write the show like a dumbass.
He's also Ken in Digimon.
He's a lot of things. He's a lot of things. And then Emily is voiced by
You mean Paradise Kiss?
Yes, thank
Paradise
you.
Kiss?
That's what I meant.
You're welcome.
That's what I meant. Thank you. Emily is voiced by, and I apologize if I butcher your last name. She's voiced by Alexa N. Caracia. Very, very new. Mostly primarily known for theater roles, such as Little Mermaid and Mary Poppins Jr., a couple different productions she has done. This was her very first voiceover role. This was her first animation role. She had done according to the special feature, she's done a little bit of voiceover work, but this is her first, like, animation role. So, performance-wise, how do we feel about these characters?
I'll start off. Ivanov is going to either be something people really like or really hate, because he has a thick Russian accent.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it. I thought he was great.
I thought it was wonderful. I loved it. It kind of added to the diversity of the crew.
Yeah.
Considering, like, you have Heinz, who's more of, like, the American or maybe potentially German crew member. You have Miguel, who they decided to make from South America. Aoshima, obviously, is Japanese.
I thought you said he was Filipino.
No, the name of the beer.
Oh, he's South American.
The character himself is South American.
Ah, gotcha. And horny. And that, my friends, is his downfall.
Oh, that's his fucking downfall. Anyway.
And that, my friends, is going to be for the next section. But no, I genuinely really enjoyed it. I'm not super used to Frank Tiroto's work. But I genuinely enjoyed him. I kind of wish this character had more to do other than to sit there and be like, what the fuck's happening, guys?
Yeah,
Gang,
the majority,
get the fuck out!
The majority of Frank and Derek's performances are like on radio and comms.
What the hap is fucking in, guys.
Yeah, basically. That's what
I will also appreciate Derek Stephen Prince's character, because I am very used to Derek Stephen Prince having a very, very certain kind of younger voice and being... Listen, I cannot unhear Ken from Digimon.
I mean, nobody can.
I cannot unhear Ken and or Impmon, depending on your flavor of Digimon.
Depending on the day.
Yeah, like, I actually genuinely want to start rewatching Digimon Adventure. Not the new one. The new one sucked. The original with the dub, so I can cry over how parts of it. Anyway. But no, Derek did a really great job here as this kind of tech guy who's also like, guys... And I like the kind of humorous tone he has in the beginning of the beginning of the movie with Miguel being Miguel and Heinz being like, I'm the straight man. And then
I'm the straight man to Miguel's bullshit.
And then, Emily. Oh god. I was like, oh god, they got a real child an actual factual child for this. Like, I think Alexa does a great job being adorable and then just heartbreaking because it is so genuine.
Yeah.
And just the scene where she's like, Daddy, I'm on the roof! And then you're like, oh no!
Child, no, go back inside.
No,
please.
You fucked up!
You fucked up!
And then it makes sense. It makes sense why earlier in the movie he was freaked out by, like, images of little girls falling off.
Yeah, the winding doll that fell off of the stand, and then the image of, like, Emily coming from the ceiling into the floor. Oh, yeah.
Like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Should have fixed the little wind post thing sooner, shouldn't you?
Special side note, because we're not discussing her, but because she only has like 2 fucking lines. The mom, Anna, is played by Martha Harms, who we have not heard in 5 fucking years.
Hi Martha, we miss you.
Hi Martha, we miss you.
Hi Martha.
Oh god, I just love also be her little papas.
Yeah, Papa!
When she's hanging on to fucking Ava, you're just like, no ma'am, no sir.
No sir!
No
I
sir.
don't want!
I don't
Do
like,
not want!
It's that gif of that horse going, no, I don't think I like that.
Nope. I'm gonna nope the fuck out.
It's great. I really like a lot of the supporting work in there. I just wish I had more to say, because a lot of the meat of this movie is held with the main 3 characters' performances.
No,
but these are really great secondary performances. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
You can't have a really great dub without fantastic secondary performances. So yeah,
especially with a 45-minute short like this.
Yes,
the
performances have to be leak proof.
Pretty much. No, I also really like all of these performances very, very much. Like, Frank Todaro's just grumpy old man. Grumpy old Russian man. I love it. So much fun. And then you have Derek Stephen Prince, who is the tech guy, essentially. And just going along with all of the bullshit that's happened. But no, I think Alexa broke my heart a little bit. It was cute. It was cute and also very sad. because you find out Emily's, like, died, long before Magnetic Rose takes place. And Hines is just going through some, like, PTSD trauma shit throughout the course of the movie because of it. It's like, oh no. Poor BB. All she wanted to do was go into space with Dad.
All I want to do is see my dad go into space with me. And then I died.
Alon, what did you think?
These are great. Frank's really good, and also, like, I mean, he's funny, but he's funny because he gets funny lines, not because the accent's funny. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, he gets some fun jokes and one-liners. Yeah.
No, he did a good job of, like, as far as I know, that's he's not Russian. That's not his real accent, but he did a good job of making it sound, at least to my ears, authentic enough without sounding cartoony. Derek Stephen Prince was good because he's basically always good. I can't think of a lot of, like, bad performances I've heard from him over the years. He's always he's a good, strong character actor. He fits into this like a glove.
Yeah.
And Alexa's really cute and really heartbreaking because for reasons we stated. I do want to give her and Martha credit though for having made my favorite of the dub outtakes, where separately they both comment on the, like, lousy, like, Oompa German, like, polka song that they're listening to. Is Heinz supposed to be American or German? It occurs to me now.
I don't know.
No.
I think he's German, even though his name is based off an American fucking beer.
Yeah.
Heineken is not American. It's Dutch.
That's why I'm wondering, is this actually some German beer that we've never heard of?
Okay.
Because we don't live in Germany.
No, I've been to the actual factual Heineken factory in Amsterdam.
We don't know if they're talking about Heineken either.
Heinz? I don't know. I'm Googling Heinz.
I mean, fairness, this movie's from the 90s. There could be a brand of beer that's long since become defunct.
That is also true. It could have been defunct.
They individually, while recording their lines, comment on this lousy song they're listening to. It's like, Daddy, can you please turn your terrible music off?
Son of a bitch, it is actually real.
Oh, there is a Heinz beer. Okay.
Yeah, it's apparently it might be real. I don't know. I'm looking it up.
And that's the day we learned that Heinz used to sell beer.
There was a guy named Heinz Beer who died.
Heinz Brewing Company.
His name was
in the United States.
Oh my god. There was a guy who was named Heinz C. Beer.
That's amazing! I love it!
The things you learn in these kids.
But I'm still thinking that his name is Heineken, and that is fucking Dutch.
I mean, we don't know. The liner notes said American, so who the fuck knows? Honestly. But no, that was a very fun outtake.
Yeah,
like, turn off your music, Dad. It's giving me a migraine.
Incidentally, kudos to everybody, and I'm assuming probably NYAV Post in particular, because there's the only segment that has outtakes. Kudos for getting outtakes on this thing. Yes. I miss outtakes. I'm vaguely under the impression that part of the reason they don't show up anymore is a lot of times the Japanese side tends to put the kibosh on them, so I appreciate that they're here at all.
No, it's very amusing that you talked about the outtakes, like, and you think Japan usually, like, harps on them. Weirdly enough, Justin in the features also said that because this is an older title, Japan didn't really have, like, breathe down their necks as much about this kind of shit. Like, including the casting and the dub itself. I'm like, oh my god. So maybe it extends out to, like, some of the features. But, Jesus. Dad, can you turn off the radio? Your music's giving me a migraine. I didn't expect that from Alexa in the outtakes. It was great. I loved it. Oh, any other quick thoughts about this trio?
I'm only sad that apparently while Heinz's actor was recording his lines, he did not also go, wow, this music is awful. Do I enjoy this? Or something along those lines. It would have been fun if they had a trifecta there. Yeah.
Also, like, I gotta give Alexa kudos as well. So, Memories was, majority of it was recorded from home because, the
COVID.
The giant malware happened. But the only person who had to record in studio was actually Alexa because she didn't have an at-home studio setup.
Aww.
Aw.
She's confirmed to be the only one in the Magnetic Rose cast to have to record in studio. So, kudos to you for braving the dangers out there. Also to the ADR staff who likely had to go in too.
Yes.
So, yeah, kudos to them. Any other thoughts on these three before we move on to the meat and potatoes?
They're good.
Okay. Alright. Yeah. This short is so simple. There's not many characters to talk about. Let's talk about our main three. We have Heinz, Miguel, and Ava. So Heinz and Miguel are also crewmates on the ship Corona. They are the landing party, basically, who explore the ship itself and go through a bunch of hallucinations and weird-ass shit. Heinz is a very straightforward, straight man kind of guy. Miguel is a fucking playboy and a horn dog. Like, there's no other way to describe it, let's face it. And then you have Ava. So Ava is the lady of the ship, for lack of better phrasing, but the ship's computer is causing a lot of wonky-ass shit, and essentially she's kind of like either a figment of their imagination or a hologram with a robot base. So it's very complicated. In terms of playing these characters, I'm actually going to start with Ava. So Ava is voiced by Laura Post, who has voiced other characters such as Tamayo in Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Cynthia Moore in The Great Pretender, and Miki Okudera in Your Name. Miguel, our wonderful horndog playboy, is voiced by Robbie Damond, who has voiced characters such as Megumi Fushiguro in Jujutsu Kaisen, Mikio Shirato in Megalobox, and Ren Saruga in Skip Beat. As for Heinz, we have Mark Swint. Now, Mark Swint hasn't done a ton, but he does have a few big credits. He's voiced characters such as Sosuke Yamada in Number 24, Kyoei in Pokemon Sun and Moon and Pokemon Journeys, and Mason in the film Mass Effect Paragon Lost. So,
I was gonna say Kiwame?
Kyoei.
I know who he is.
I don't. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, because you haven't played Sun and Moon.
I know nothing. Anyway, so holy shit. So these three have the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
Of the short. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yes. I'll start
with a lot.
I'll start with Ava, who is implied to have murdered her husband.
Yeah. So Ava's story is very weird.
Whereas, like, she was in love with this guy, wanted to do everything for her beloved Carlo, even pantomimed when she lost her voice, but suddenly the day before her wedding, he died. And then it's like, you killed your fucking husband, which I'm going to guess because Ava had issues.
No.
No. Yeah, okay.
Understatement of the century there, Megan.
Yeah, you find out a bit later on that she just wanted to keep Carlo forever.
She wanted to keep him in his prime forever.
That's what it was, yes.
Because all good things must fade away, and let's be real, she probably wanted to keep Carlo at his peak like some freakazoid in a jar.
Yeah.
Except for they didn't have the technology, so she stabbed him.
Yeah, but now she's just like, I wanna keep Carlo here with me. And
now she's going to make more Carlos!
Basically, yes. Like, oh my god, it's nuts.
And
like,
every horny dude is her victim. Her spaceship is... And she loves roses. In fact, she loves roses so much, she made her spaceship a rose.
Yep. Also, bye, Miguel, you fucker. Anyway.
Miguel did some things wrong. He did not deserve that.
Also true.
Miguel did not deserve to get squished.
He didn't get squished. He went into the white light.
And then he got squished.
No, that was Heinz almost getting... Oh, yeah, he did. No, it all collapsed. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Miguel got squashed.
You're right.
Miguel go boom.
He didn't go boom, he goes splat.
Yeah, Miguel goes splat. Now there's a lot of Miguel on the Magnetic Rose.
Oh boy.
I'm going to hell.
I mean, he's not the only body that probably turned up there. So
yeah, there's a lot of fucking skeletons flying around at the end. It's like, oh look, it's Amon's family reunion. The skeletons. That's what I meant. I'm sorry, Amon. That was mean.
Don't be absurd. That's me and all my alternate universe selves having a meetup after we've died. We did it, boys! We grew up to be skeletons!
We did it! We did it, fam!
We did it, Reddit!
We did it, Reddit! Shit! Alternate universe Amon's all over the place. God, what kind of conversation would they have?
It's like, okay, Amon, question. Have you ever seen any of the anime for My Life as a Villainess?
No.
Or any screenshots of it?
I mean, miscellaneous screenshots, but nothing specific.
Okay, I know where she's going with this.
So her inner thoughts are just different versions of herself, and
it's
they
like
all look
council.
like her,
right?
So
but they're all chibis. Now I'm just imagining a bunch of chibi skeletons of the different aspects of Amon discussing how to go about their day.
Oh, they're all wearing a shirt with the cover of their favorite Steely Dan album. They get into a day-long fight about it.
Oh my god! I love it!
There's one on the side who's actually a Donald Fagen solo album. He tries to join. They're like, look, we'll deal with you later.
I love it.
We're busy.
I fucking love it.
Today on Amon Masterpiece Theater. Speaking of Masterpiece Theater, Laura Post is very threatening as a crazy lady.
Yeah.
And I think the best part about it is that it's that type of restrained crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what makes it very unsettling.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to shank you and show you all the things that you want so that you'll stay with me, but I'm never going to extremely lose my temper until the very end where I'm floating in a snow globe like Madame Leota.
Yeah. Yeah, because she, like, when shit goes, like, all the hell, she's just, like, in this hologram bubble.
Yeah, after Hines very, very convincingly shoots a robot with a pistol.
Yes.
But no, it's great. It's, my only question is that, like, they clearly used the OST for her opera singing. They didn't make Laura Post actually do
No,
that,
No, yeah.
Okay, good, because I was confused.
No, they kept the soundtrack. They kept the soundtrack from...
They did a good job matching it to the audio quality of the dub, though. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Discotheque does good shit, guys. So no, I really loved her performance, and I think that there was the right amount of, like, pathos at first for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then it slowly evolves into menace. And that's something that I think Laura Post is really good at nailing out throughout her career, and it's on display here in full force. Robbie Damon is horny Miguel. Oh, Robbie Damon, you tried to steal this movie. Robbie Damon tried to steal this segment with his acting. Like, it's not overly hammy, but it's very comedic, but he nails when it needs to be drama.
Yes.
Like, when Carlo has gotten into the honey trap, and he's like... I'm sorry, Miguel has become Carlo and in the honey trap.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I 100% believe that this motherfucker was like, yeah, I love you, babe. I ain't never gonna stop loving you, babe.
He sold his sanity for some lady.
Ghosts be like that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I guess you could say he ghosted himself.
God!
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Episode over. Thanks, guys.
No,
and I really enjoyed Robbie's performance because I think it brought levity to the tension when it needed to, but it also used that levity to turn against you in terms of the pacing and the progression to the end. So I think it really helped me to draw in. I actually think he is probably the best performer in this segment, honestly.
I'd say that's debatable because
I personally liked it a lot. I think it was very good. It was probably my personal favorite.
I mean, that's fair, but you also have Hines.
Yeah, because Mark Swint was fucking great, too.
Yes!
Like, I unfortunately am also not very familiar with Mark Swint's vocal work. But I follow him on Twitter a lot. I like looking at pictures of his cats and his mechanic work.
Cute.
But I think that he did such a good job nailing the age of Hines so well, because he didn't make Hines seem, like, super old, but not super youthful.
Right.
And I think that he also very much had the okay, good, my partner is a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, you haven't been doing your calcium treatments, like, He's like the guy who's got the new dude at work, and he's just like, dude, I've been training you for weeks. Can you please pay attention?
It's like, don't be a fucking dumbass.
Don't be a fucking dumbass.
And then again, the straight man to Miguel's horseshit.
But I think when he finally starts realizing that this is a trap is where Mark really excels. Mm-hmm. And just the way that he gets across Hines' trauma in his voice.
Yes.
Like, the wibbles, like, he doesn't wibble his lip, but, like, the genuine tears and the pain and the panic. Like, the scene where Emily falls off the roof.
Yes.
And he's just like, no! And, like, you can genuinely hear, like, this is a dad watching his kid die in real time. Mm-hmm. And Mark gets that across with the timbre of his voice. And just, also, when he's cradling, he doesn't just go to Ava and
Emily,
and he holds the dead body and just goes, like, just, he gets across genuine grieving fathers so fucking well.
Like, that's why I was saying, like, I know you, preference-wise, you really loved Robbie as Miguel, but, like, that's why I said debatable, because Mark Swint was so fucking good. Like, holy shit. I loved it too, like, oh my god. Like, just a lot of the span of emotions that Hines goes through in a matter of, like, the 45 minutes is just so well handled and so well done. I loved it, honestly. But, no, yeah, I really love, oh my god, like, for me personally, I really loved Mark Swint. I think for me, he's the standout of this section, honestly. That's not to say that Robbie and Laura aren't phenomenal as well. Like, you brought up a lot of really, like, poignant things about the performances that are just like, oh yeah, 100%. Fucking Miguel is such a jackass. I love it. Like, he's the only stupid moron of the crew. And he's such a playboy. Like, you get that very early on when he's like, ah, yes. Like, he has a picture of one girl, he's like, oh, but what about her? What am I gonna do on her? I'm like, oh, this is the kind of guy we're dealing with here. And he just gets duped so fucking fast. So fast. Like, he has such
never stood a chance.
Mm-hmm. He has such a fun tone, and it's a bit more, not necessarily lighthearted, but, like, the tone of voice, I think, gives a fun blending and dynamicism with the crew of the Corona, because both Mark and Frank Todaro are, like, lower registered performances, and then you have Aoshima, Derek Stephen Prince, for God's sake. And then Miguel is just, like, the younger, like, every guy, like, hey, what's up, fellow kids? Like,
how do you do, fellow kids?
How do you do, fellow kids? Like, he has that kind of vibe to me, and it makes sense. So, because Robbie plays it as more, like, casual, nonchalant, just like, hey! But also kind of charismatic, and it's very, very nice. I liked it. And Laura Post, you described it very, very well, Megan. It's very, like, unsettling, and, like, it's not, like, full-blown crazy. It's very, very subtle and menacing. And it's very interesting, because if you've never seen the movie before, and this short in particular, we learn, of course, early on that she was an opera singer, and she's just referred to as, like, this queen or princess of, like, Italian opera back in the day. And the flashback bits and all that fun stuff with Laura and the lines that she has reflects that very, very well. Which makes the later revelation that, oh, Ava's actually fucking crazy, even more, like, oh shit, that kind of deal, you know what I mean? So, like, I really love how these characters are handled, and the performances are fun. But yeah, personally, I really liked Mark Swint, but all three of these roles were great, honestly.
Yeah, let's see. Laura, I think unsettling is the good word. Like,
yeah.
Like, to a large extent, this is kind of a haunted house movie, and to make it to compare it to another very famous haunted house movie, like, she kind of reminds me of, like, any given scene where, like, Jack Nicholson is interacting with a ghost in The Shining, where, like, it's not really overt, but there's something very off happening in their performance, and I think she gets that, of, like, this is almost normal, but it's not quite, and there's just this uncanny valley aspect to it almost, where there's something off, even if you can't quite put your finger on it at first. I also think she does a good job getting on kind of like Ava's realness. Like she sounds like all the Rococo architecture looks, which I think is a really important aspect of the character. Robbie's he's delightful. Just what a silly ham who's gonna go hit on some ladies when they get back to Earth.
He wants some ladies in his life.
Pretty
ladies.
Much. Yeah, he's good at being the sort of the guy who's kind of a Don Juan and kind of knows he's being a little ridiculous, but he's fine with that.
Yep, that's 100% Miguel.
Although one of my favorite bits between him and Mark was where he's like dying on the elevator, and Mark's just like, "Look at you haven't been doing your calciums, like." Get yourself, like, I'm gonna let you die there if you don't do it, man. Like, I'm not helping you. This is your fault. Like,
and there was another fucking moment, like, maybe not even, like, 5 minutes later, where Miguel fucking tries to eat the food.
Oh, he's like, don't eat that. And he
like,
just
what are you doing? And then,
pukes.
like, Heinz just tests the water faucet, and it's, like, disgusting water, and then, like, Miguel starts vomiting. It's like,
this wine sucks.
It's like, I told you, you fucker, you shouldn't have done that.
Poor Miguel.
Being Miguel is suffering.
There's a real like don't go into like the Fey world and eat the food vibe in that moment.
Yes, 100%. That's the vibe.
Now you're stuck here, Miguel. You ate the food. Now this is your world now. Sorry.
Congrats, Miguel. You played yourself.
Yeah. He's really like funny and energetic, but also I just like his contrast of just how much more emotional he is than Heinz. Like, even when they're just like walking around and Heinz like let's split up, and Miguel like is audibly freaked out about it because I was like, oh, do you believe in ghosts now? Is that what's happening right here? Yeah. But he does a good job of just selling how like he's funny early on when he's being more sort of Mr. Lothario, but he does really sell like how much panic Miguel starts going through once things get strange and this isn't normal and I think I'm a little lost, guys. He really sells that. I think I'm also not super familiar with a lot of Mark stuff. I mostly know him as like, oh, you're one of those guys on Twitter who I don't follow, I don't think, but I see you on Twitter a lot and you seem cool. And I think he has a difficult job with Heinz that I think he does really admirably. Just because Heinz is like so kind of like repressed in such a closed box and has so much like pain inside. And I think he does a good job of communicating a lot of that. And, later on when, he's re-witnessing his daughter's death, of like opening up in that in a way that feels very authentic and doesn't go into like, it doesn't become like histrionics or, cheesy or anything like that. It feels very, like natural to what the character's going through. But I think it's important. I feel like if you have a bad Heinz here, I feel like the whole short can fall apart pretty quickly. So like, kudos to Mark for like being able to nail that.
No, yeah, like he has the hardest job of like basically carrying the whole short through, and I think he does phenomenally.
Yeah, now the poor bastard just floating in space.
Floating in space. We don't know what happened to Corona, assuming Corona just blew up.
Oh yeah, no, there's a scene where you can watch it like get crushed against like some of the other debris because of like the magnetic fields.
So everybody's dead but Heinz, who might as well be dead because he's just floating in space.
Yeah, and unless someone else finds that distress signal, happens to wander by before he starves to death, he's not going to do so hot himself.
No, Heinz is not long for this world either. It's fine.
Yeah, poor guy.
He's just speed running. He's just speed running so he can see Emily again.
Oh my god! No! Oof. Oh shit. Alright. Any other little thoughts about Heinz, Miguel, or Ava?
No.
Alright. Then let's do a quick final thoughts. How did we feel about the dub of Magnetic Rose?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's easily one of the best dubs of the year so far. I think that the direction, writing, and acting all come together perfectly to understate itself as well as grip the tension of Magnetic Rose itself, I definitely think it's a must-watch. If only Discotheque could print them faster.
They instantly
literally A&N's only minus about Memories is Discotheque is running out of stock.
Like, which is amazing because having like older films like this, like getting the popularity and the attention, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, this
like,
is
legit.
Sorry, go on.
No, you can go.
No, this is great. Like, this is a blast. Like, this movie's like in this short and the whole movie in general is really up my alley, and I think you can really see all the care and attention to detail that went into dubbing this. Like, this is great. I can you hope that like anything that's more like 10 years old that gets picked up and like the music and effects tracks have survived long enough that they can even give it a dub. You hope that this is the kind of quality you would get in a new dub for something that old, and I think this succeeds on all accounts.
No, yeah, this is definitely, it makes me so happy. It's the last missing piece of Cone's legacy, essentially, that hadn't really been pushed so much, in the States, so I'm happy to see that it's getting a new life again. And this dub, there's so much care and attention to the details and all the fun things that it just stands out so well. I really, really love it. Please, first of all, go get Memories, because Memories itself is fun, but two, please, when you do, go watch Magnetic Rose. It's such a fun little short, and a great anthology film, honestly. Before we transition over to the next short, Amon, Amon, because we always, when you're here, you always have to have a Dusty Old Song. Though I also have a Dusty Old Song, and it's humanly possible we could have the same one, but we'll find out. Do you have a Dusty Old Song today?
I do, but would you like to go first?
I guess. So, I was looking at the liner notes last night. And, a fun fact. So... couple fun things. First of all, the operatic pieces for Magnetic Rose is the opera pieces for the opera Madame Butterfly, with a brand new arrangement that Yoko Kanno did, and it's very, very fun. But a random fact that I found out in the liner notes is in 2003, there was a musician who was inspired by Magnetic Rose named Robbie Williams, and
Hold the fuck up, what? Keep going. Wait, hold on.
Robbie Williams.
So I'll get a note. The Blu-ray software that I have is like not great, so I actually it wouldn't like let me read the liner notes very well, so I didn't get to read much of them. So I'll continue here because this may be going in a very weird direction. So,
the artist named Robbie Williams, who was inspired by Magnetic Rose, and in 2003, as a part of one of his albums, I forgot the name of it, and I didn't write it down. He wrote a song called Berliner Star, which he wrote the lyrics for From Carlo's Point of View to Ava.
And just to be clear, this is Robbie Williams, British pop star and former boy band member Robbie Williams, yes?
I'm pretty sure this is the right one, yes.
Holy shit, okay.
Yeah!
Did you guys have the same song?
No, I picked some
No,
opera
it sounds
stuff.
like we didn't. It sounds like we did not.
No,
like, it's a fun, like, poppy, like, rock kind of thing, where it's, like, talking about how much he loves Ava, and, like, he legit uses Ava's name in the fucking song, and how much he still loves her and stuff. Like, it's a fun little, like, 2 to 3 minute song, so go give it a listen when you're done with this.
This is... So... What? That's like, to give you an idea, imagine if like Justin Timberlake wrote a song about an anime. That's what happened here, more or less.
That's kind of what happened, yeah. That's kind of
What's the song called?
Berliner Star.
All right.
Berliner Star.
Well,
it's by Robbie Williams.
Well, you scooped me on this, so congratulations.
I mean, you asked me to go first. What's your Dusty Old Song, sir?
Oh, my Dusty Old Songs, I'm going to stumble my way through recommending opera recordings I've never listened to, because I don't actually listen to opera. But opera, it's a big part of this. As you mentioned, it takes a lot from Puccini's Madame Butterfly. Apparently, one of the songs in there is also from another opera he did called Tosca.
Yes.
I have not listened to any of these. But I did do some digging, and I did find what appear to be some, like, recommended recordings of these operas, which you can get on CD, and I'm sure they're streaming one way or another. Obviously, doing this is hard because opera gets recorded a lot, and what are considered the best ones has a lot to do with, like, who's cast in it, what kind of performance they're giving, blah, blah, blah. But I'll give you some that seem to be pretty well regarded by people on the internet who care about opera. For Madame Butterfly, I actually have 3.
Okay.
One, there is a recording from 1954 done for his master's voice in EMI, which stars Victoria de Los Angeles and Giuseppe De Stefano. That one was released on CD. I had a hard time figuring out which, like, version of it is in print, but it is on Spotify. If you punch in, like, their names, it'll be the one that comes up.
Ooh, nice.
In 1955, there is a recording done for Columbia starring Marie Callas and Nikolai Gedda. You can get that on CD from Warner Classics. And there's a recording from 1966, also done for his master's voice in EMI, that stars Renata Scotto and Carlo Bergonzi, which is on CD from EMI Classics. Tosca is a little bit easier because there apparently is one recording that for like 5 straight decades was considered the reading of this, to the point that it is now in the Library of Congress's National Recording Registry, which is, we're basically, this is something culturally significant, so it gets rewarded. And that was done in 1953 for EMI. It stars Maria Callas and is conducted by Victor de Sabata, and you can also get that on CD from Warner Classics. So go check those out, and you can feel very cultured for about like 2 or 3 hours.
Ah, yes. All right. So I think we're ready to transition into the next short. What?
I was gonna say, Megan doesn't have a Dutch Seal song, but as a joke, go listen to Kiss from a Rose by Seal.
Oh boy.
There's your Dutch Seal song. Alright. No. Alright, I think it's time to transition into the next short, and... Hold on. Guys?
Do you smell that?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Megan?
You're right.
What the hell is going on?
Oh my god! Oh my god, Steph! Steph, are you okay? Hey, what's that smell? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We at Dub Talk TV have been called onto the scene to investigate what the hell is going on after our last batch of reporters that fled to the scene have suddenly died due to intense case of some sort of toxic gas that has taken over the entirety of the Yamanashi Prefecture. That's where we're at. Okay, sorry, I'm still not quite sure about how these Japanese prefectures work. I'm new to the area. I'm new to this. What do you want from me? Anyways, we are monitoring the situation cautiously and carefully, but many have fallen victim to this nauseous gas, and we are here to report it to you, our dear viewers and listeners. I am Ace Reporter Andrew, and joining me here is my good old cameraman, companion, compatriot, cohort, Patrick.
I don't believe it. I see a man in the middle of the gas fog. It looks like he has broken wind. I don't know what I'm seeing, folks, but I think this guy is responsible for everything.
I get the feeling that he must have gone to a 5 a.m. Chipotle run, and it probably went as well as you'd expect. And joining us is our man in the sky who's keeping us in the sky, our co-pilot, Jet. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing just fine there. I'm doing just hiding here in the sky, and oh my god, what's that smell? It smells like rotten eggs.
Oh god! Oh no, he's got a whiff! Oh no! We're crashing!
So, on our way down, Andrew, why don't you tell us why we're here?
You're a man of many talents, sir. We barely escaped with our lives, but we are here to investigate this stinky, bombastic tragedy. This stink bomb. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. I don't know why I thought... My first instinct was Terminator 2, despite the fact that, God, imagine like the fucking stink bomb was just like a T-1000. That'd be fucked. Anyways, so in case you are already still tuned in to this episode, we are covering the second of 3 films in the popular well, not even say popular, the critically acclaimed anime anthology series from one Katsuhiro Otomo, Memories. This is the second one. This is called Stink Bomb. Animated by Studio Madhouse, the only one of these three to be animated by a different studio, and directed by one Tensai Okamura, who at the time was a relatively young director when he worked on this project. But afterwards, he's gone on to have a pretty prolific career. He's gone on to direct such things as Wolf's Rain, Blue Exorcist, The Seven Deadly Sins, Kuromukuro. But at the end of the liner notes, he did say that he feels the show that most reflects him as a director was, in fact, Metabots.
Oh, huh.
Oh,
that is
okay.
that is not the what I thought you were going to segue to.
No, that's literally at the end of the liner notes, which, by the way, I love the special effects features on this this Blu-ray disc. Discotheque definitely outdid themselves. The liner notes were really cool, and there's a lot of tidbits I'll bring up, but I just want to bring up the fact that he straight up was like, yeah, no, if you really want to know like a little bit about me as a director creator, check out Metabots. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I seriously thought you were going to like cap that with Darker Than Blind. I was not expecting Metabots.
Oh yeah, he did mention that he had worked on Darker Than Black, but no, he ended it with Metabots. I'm like, okay, that's really funny.
God, Metabots were like literally everybody we associate with Sakuga was somehow associated with back in the early 2000s. It's insane.
It's genuinely insane and fascinating.
I need to rewatch that.
God, you know what is insane though? This fucking movie. This is the actual... So, my first exposure to this particular short was, like a couple of people on this podcast, watching the English dub premiere on Twitch in February, where at the time, Stink Bomb and Cannon Fodder, they were not yet done with their restoration process, so they still looked a little similar to their original masters. But the dub itself was done, so I got to hear it and watch it for the first time, and this is actual insanity, and probably some of the most aggressively dark humor I have seen in a long time. But it is slapstick, nonsensical shenanigans, and it's got a nice jazz, funk, ska musical backing to go alongside the sort of quirkiness of it. So, Stink Bomb is effectively... It's about this guy. His name is Nobuo. He's got a bad case of the cold. He's got the seasonal flu. And he works at a pharmaceutical company.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? He goes into his boss's office to find an experimental pill that might make him feel better. Turns out, he took the wrong pill. Oops! And because of that, he becomes a literal weapon of mass destruction, killing everything and anything around him. Wacky hijinks! Woo!
That really does raise a lot of questions as to like why you would just leave that lying around somewhere. But
it is very clear that the tone of this film in particular is that it is a hardcore satire about Japanese public basically the way the Japanese government would react in a time of crisis, while also kind of being, because apparently Otomo is also a big fan of doing stories that basically mock and ridicule the Japanese salaryman. Basically just the one note, I'm gonna do so good at my job and my job is my life now. Basically making fun of the fact that this dude's just doing his 9 to 5, but in the face of crisis and adversity, he's still going to do his job no matter what. But it's also, like, if I was to compare this movie to anything, it feels so much to me like Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah.
It feels so eerily similar to Doctor Strangelove in that this is basically, it is an absurd, dark comedy, but it is also like a criticism or like an idea of how a superpower, like a national superpower, would act in a huge crisis and how much they would basically bumble at the 10-yard line. Which, as it turned out, apparently during production there was a big earthquake that happened in Japan, and a huge uproar happened because people were criticizing the Japanese government's super slow call to action to do things, and like actual new like laws and reforms were in place because of it. So as it turned out, yeah, this movie has some things to say, and they were actually kind of right. And is history doomed to repeat itself? I don't know. Is there in fact still an ongoing Olympic event that was going to take place this year that shouldn't have taken place this year, and at the time of release has happened?
Yeah, I don't know, Andrew. I mean, it's not like Japan isn't, badly handling the virus right now.
Nah. You know how we stop the virus? Giving the athletes cardboard beds so they don't have sex with each other.
You just don't eat with foreigners.
See, I know yours is a little more xenophobic and disgusting, but I just wanted to take a second to say, you don't need a bed to have sex. You're Japan. Have you seen your own pornography? Life finds a way.
And I mean, look, the Olympics is kind of notorious for its athletes, cramming like 10,000 athletes into the same village. And, And
that's fair. That's fine.
I've seen Animal Olympics. I know what happens.
Also, they're athletes. They're the strongest people in the world. They can fucking lift each other. Christ. We should probably talk about this stuff now, actually.
Yeah.
So here's the fun thing about Memories, is that Memories is handled by two different studios. Both Magnetic Rose and the preceding film are done at Studio 4 Degrees C, and this one is done at Studio Madhouse. As it turns out, the English dub of this has done something similar, where the previous one we've just discussed was done at NYAV Post. But the team working on the English dub of Stink Bomb is at Sound Cadence Studio in Texas. And handling the daunting task of doing this film, that goes to our ADR direction team of Amber Lee Connors, assisted by Damon Mills and Emily Fajardo, and the screenplay adaptation is done by one Justin Tsvakis. Amber Lee Connors has directed for such projects as Gleipnir, Actors Song Connection, City Hunter, Shinjuku Private Eyes, and Hells. Damon Mills has directed for such anime such as Actors Song Connection and Kono Ototomare, and has lead directed projects such as Full Dive and Last Dungeon Boonies. I'm not saying the full names of either of those, we don't have enough time for that. And Emily Fajardo, who has assisted and directed on such projects as Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, Golden Kamuy Season 3, Back Arrow, and Thermae Romai. So, what are your thoughts? Because we're going to go into... I should probably mention. Justin Tsvakis. His only other writing credit that I could really find for this particular one was the preceding Magnetic Rose English dub. So, as far as I can tell, most of Tsvakis' writing credits I could find are for the Memories project in particular.
But he's also the big disc-producing guy for Discotheque.
Very much so, yes.
And I think he also does stuff for Anime Limited as well.
Yeah, he has like his own like Blu-ray production company.
Right.
Media OCD, which they're even credited as one of the studios at the end of this project. Like in like the end credits, which yeah. So, where do we begin with this one in particular? Because we can talk about the direction. Because the thing about Stink Bomb is that there's actually a shocking amount of people in this dub, but we just kind of don't have time to really talk about them. Because they kind of show up in a blink and you miss it fashion. But a number of them actually made a pretty big impact, and a lot of them were really strong and did a really good job. It's also worth mentioning that they did all of this, the entirety of the dub of the Memories project was done remotely from home.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say one thing I appreciated here is that while this stuff doesn't sound like, super retro or anything, just going by the overall presentation, I feel like if you showed it to somebody who didn't know better, they would definitely think the dub is as old as the movie is, but like in a good way, which I appreciate.
It definitely, it's the way I would describe it. It almost seems like kind of like retro tinted, not in a way where it's like aggressive or like not in like a megalo box way where it's like they de-resed it to make it look more retro or something. It just feels like it works. It doesn't feel out of place with the era, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of people in this ensemble who definitely have strong impressions that we just don't have time to really talk about all of their characters, or they didn't really show up to like they didn't last too long. So a lot of these people die pretty quick because it's like a 40-minute short and it's people need to drop it's like 5 minutes ago.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Colonel Saab for the frostiness of that line. That'll stick with me.
Okay, if I had a character name, I would absolutely be talking about Alejandro Saab's character in this, who is basically a military colonel who is pretty much like the frontline defense, basically trying to kill Nobuo at the end of the movie, and he has some of like the most killer lines in this. I need to find the exact line that he says, because it fucking cracks me up every time he says it. It specifically, it's when they're trying to freeze him with liquid nitrogen.
I can type it into the chat.
I got it here. Freeze him out like he's Frosty the goddamn snowman. Holly happy this, asshole!
Bless you,
I
Alejandro Saab. Bless you.
Oh god, the cadence at which he delivers that line fucking kills me. Also, you could tell he really wanted to say fuck. Because when oh yeah, by the way, full movie spoilers, in case that isn't clear already. When all the American spaceman army guys are coming in and basically ignoring him, he just does this great fine! Say if I care! Get yourself killed for all I care! It's like, oh. No, like, Alejandro's, like, one of my favorite, like, side characters in the ensemble, but I also, like, adore a couple of the, other ones there. We're not talking about Omaida, but I love Chris Guerrero coming in and basically screaming every single line as Omaida when he realizes, oh god, somebody fucked up, and I fucked up bad. That was particularly fun, and another shout out, in particular, to Karen Collar as Grandma! Grandma!
Oh, the whole with the grandma was great.
Oh, she's just got this great, like, old lady voice. Nobuo, I don't know what's going on, but please turn back. And then they tried shooting him. It was like, are you trying to kill my grandson? What's wrong with you people? It's like, no, but I've never heard of Karen before, but she does a great job with the grandma, and just giving a couple of shout outs to other people in the ensemble. One more I'll give a shout out to, actually. Aaron Campbell, who apparently is like the first NHK reporter, which they actually go into the behind the scenes footage about the dub. Apparently he used to be a TV reporter, actually, because Tsvakis was talking to Amberly Connors about this, and he's just like, man, a lot of movies seem to get like the reporters so wrong, but he just sounded so authentic and good. And she's just like, and Amber was just like, oh yeah, no, Aaron Campbell used to be a reporter. It's like, that makes perfect sense then. So, like, this is a pretty decent ensemble for a lot of people who really can't make too much of a big impact because it's 40 minutes. But, like, a lot of the voices are very good and compelling, and they just do a great job with it. And, like, a couple of really memorable ones in particular.
Yeah, one other thing I really want to mention about the voice direction is I think they really just handled the tone of the movie really well. Again, well, the whole scenario here is, like, steeped in dark humor, and the situation is treated, obviously, dead seriously in universe, and the number reflects that really well. And I think I really just think the contrast between, like, how constantly pegged a lot of the other characters sound and contrasted to Nobuo, who has, like, no idea why everyone's trying to shoot him, and it just makes everything funnier.
Nobuo is just... he has no idea what's going on at all. He's just like... man, today's just my luck. Like, it's like the context was not the fact that he was basically a threat to humanity right now. He would just be some unlucky schmuck. But no, he's a fucking weapon of mass destruction. Which also, apparently, stink bomb is absolutely a pun on the Japanese term for weapon of mass destruction.
Huh.
Which is actually not that surprising, all things considered.
I was
Rouge,
actually unaware of that.
Yeah, I found that out. Patrick, what are your thoughts on this production in particular?
Yeah, so I was actually really impressed with the script writing. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time Justin Tsvakis has actually done script writing for a project, unless there was something back in the I can't remember which anime distributor he worked for, like, many years ago, but for what is probably his first modern dub scriptwriting job, he does a really great job. Kind of, I feel like if you put the subtitles underneath with the dub, it would be relatively similar, but not dogmatic to the subtitles. Obviously, like, freeze him out like Frosty the Goddamn Snowman. I have strong doubts that is in the subtitled version.
I'll say this, because I was watching a little bit of some of the behind the scenes, like, in preparation with this and alongside Steph. I think they were very much mentioning, when you're working with an older property, you can actually get away with a lot more than you would something a little more modern, unless, like, the creators are very, very protective of it. Sorry, I had a little something in my throat there. Not sure how that got in there. But no, like, I think it's like when something's a much older property or something, a lot of the people that are at the helm of this, like, might be a little more lenient and not too protective of their stuff, so you could probably take a little more liberties with certain translation and adaptive choices, and they've kind of moved on to, like, the new hotness, like, and this is a 25-year-old movie. This movie is probably slightly older than I am, for reference.
Yeah.
So
I just kind of really like that it was, it felt loose, it felt poppy, like, characters have a lot of great banter between one another, especially in the war room. Like, some of my favorite scenes are just the bigwig higher-ups just kind of chewing each other out and realizing, oh god, we are screwed. It's an absolute delight. And I love that, like you guys mentioned, the direction sort of, it really leans into from our perspective, it's a black comedy, but from theirs, it's pretty much an end-of-the-world scenario.
is basically, if they do one false move, everything is going to be destroyed.
Right.
It's like there is brown in their pants right now. Like, pretty much that level of aggressive, this is going to go so wrong. And, like, without a doubt, the thing, like, that sells me is just, they've got a pretty, we've gotten very used to Sound Cadence definitely taking full advantage of the remote recording era. But this is another dub that really shows, like, the wide reach that they've got with their talent pool for this. Because you've got the Texas scene, you've got Dallas and Houston representing, you've got New York, you've got California, and you've even got a good old Canadian guy in there too. It's like, for a relatively, like, small short, they got a really wide array of talent, and without a doubt, Amber and her team are absolutely killing it on this project. And it really sounds strong, authentic, and actually pretty goddamn impressive under the circumstances. And with that, it's like, I'd love to talk a little more about this, but basically it's just, they did a really stellar job with this production, and I was very entertained with all of the small background deliveries, the line reads, and the overall... Just everybody in this dub sounds fan-fucking-tastic. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to go into a little more about the main players of this. Specifically, the War Room group. Basically, this consists of Nirasaki and Kamata, who I believe are they're like big representatives of the pharmaceutical company that Nobuo works for, and are reporting back to the general officer, as well as General Saunders, who is an American general. So, there is nothing in this film where it's just like, you're waiting for the shoe to drop, where it's like, Nirasaki basically sends Nobuo, without even questioning it, to come to him to bring him the confidential project he's been working on, because nobody can know about it, not even the police. And then they're telling him, don't worry, everybody, that confidential information that shouldn't get out, that's coming towards us. We got our best guy on it. He's our only guy. And then I just love, it's like, so, you realize that's coming for us, right? And the fear of God was placed in those men. I was like, oh my god, I love that scene so much. And oh my god. So I'd love to talk about the particular men playing these characters in particular. Kamata is played by Gianni Matragrano. Nirasaki is played by Stephen Kelly. General Saunders is played by Bill Butts. And the general officer is Mike Pollock. Gianni you'll know from such performances as Minotaur from Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle, Kengo in The Last Dungeon Boonies, Mira in Beat X, and Leo in Arte. Stephen Kelly you'll have heard as such characters as Kisho in Sleepy Princess, Diria in Dragon Goes House Hunting, Praetor in Thermae Romae, and Ryo Satame in Actors Songs Connection. Bill has played such characters as Chocolata in JoJo Golden Wind, Odin in Record of Ragnarok, Sebastian Morse in Gundam Thunderbolt Bandit Flower, and Kyosuke Hori in Horimiya. And of course, Mike Pollock, the man, the myth, the legend himself, who has played such characters as Kudo in The Great Pretender, Yakov Nikitin in Dr. Stone, Deus Prometh in Promare, and of course, the Eggman. He is the Eggman in Sonic X. I like Eggman in all of his roles, such as Sonic X, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Lost World, and the IHOP commercial.
Yeah, pretty much, let's put it this way. Out of the entire Sonic cast, this man had the most job security.
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. Good for him. Good for him. But, man... So where should we even... Which one should we even start off with?
I mean, Nuyusaki and Kamata are kind of interchangeable, but I do just very much enjoy how much they just kind of sound like... just like very sad yes men.
I want to talk about at least Kamata, because I've over the past year, I have become very acquainted with the person known as Gianni Matragrano, and that man is a fucking wizard. Because he can do so many goddamn voices, I'm kind of baffled, and he's a very convincing old man voice. Actually, both Gianni and Steven. They're effectively playing very old, like, bureaucrat, pharmaceutical company men. And I think the guys who are playing them are, like, maybe, like, late 20s, mid-30s at most. And they have, like, really convincing old man voices, and, like, they do a fantastic job. But Gianni's just, like, so different than what I've heard of him as Leo or his, really impressive Spike Spiegel impersonation. I know that's not his professional work, but by God, his Steve Bloom Spike Spiegel impersonation is scary. But in this, he's basically just like he's a sniveling, snot-nosed guy who sounds really out of breath and tired every single time he talks. He's like, well, it just... Jet, I apologize about this. He sounds like... Oh god, Jet, I'm so sorry about this. He sounds like what if Double D became a conservative senator.
I'm not even upset by that. For some reason, I'm going to get some more worse with that.
I didn't want to insult Double D like that. Double D was my favorite Ed boy, and I don't want to do him dirty like that. But, like, that's what his voice sounds like to me.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of hear that now, and I suppose that is accurate in a weird sense.
That's far from the worst thing I've said with you recently, where I relate to somebody that Bryce in Demon Slayer sounds a bit like Richard Horvitz in Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and Alex got really pissed at me for that.
I mean, you weren't wrong, though.
Also, actually... Oh, wait. You know what? I just realized when I was talking about, like, representing from all over. Stephen Kelly. Apparently, he's from Scotland.
Huh.
I knew he wasn't local, but I didn't realize where he was until I watched the special features. Stephen's from Scotland.
Oh, well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there have been, like, a couple of other dubs I've seen semi-recently within the last couple of years that, like, had people from out of the country, like, I know there was someone like that in Japan Sings, and I'm pretty sure they do Asuka in the Netflix dub.
I think she's from the UK, yes.
Yeah. I think she was from the UK or Scotland, I can't remember which one.
But to me, it seems like Sound Cadence, in particular, seems like the most willing and able to work with talent from out of the country. And this is relied by the fact that both Gianni and Steven at this point are regular actors for them, and they are from Canada and Scotland, respectively. But Stephen Kelly's actually pretty interesting. This is my first time, I think, actually talking about him. He's got a very unique, stern, like, authoritative voice. He's got a level of strength in him when he's chastising Nobuo and he's asking for Omaida. He's like, but then he gets really stern and is like, listen to me. I cannot rely on anybody else. You're the only one I can count on. I need you to take these documents and bring them to me and don't tell anybody. But then when it's he's telling the council, it's like, don't worry, everybody, our secret's safe. And then Mike Pollock is just like, so the gas is traveling towards us. And, like, as soon as he says that, I'm like, oh, yeah. You fucked up.
Yeah, and I appreciate how much that confidence just suddenly changes to whimpering.
they go from being like strong, we've got the situation under control, to, oh god, we fucking killed us all. And that's another thing, is that apparently the team of this actually surveyed where this film takes place, because basically the actual pharmaceutical company is located in the Yamanashi Prefecture, and they actually have like a map like in the liner notes where they actually scouted out like the distance from Yamanashi, where it's basically up in the mountains and pretty isolated, but once you go down to the mountains and go straight, you're heading towards the Tokyo metropolitan area. And it's like, oh, they actually did the research for that. But no, I just thought it was really interesting. And I really like Steven in this in particular. He's got a very strong, but like really like, oh, I fucked up voice.
You have anything to add, Roots?
What's that?
What are your thoughts on these two sniveling pharmaceutical yes men?
Oh, well, obviously they're sniveling corporate weasels and cowards, and where their first... What I love is the company's first priority when the alert goes out is, oh yeah, get the formula and bring it to us so that we can cover this up. Like, it's not, yeah. It's not, oh yeah, let's try and minimize the damage that is going on. It's no. We're gonna keep our asses out of the fire. Which is also hilarious when we get to the end of the movie. God, is it? I really don't have much to say about these two, but Bill Butts and Mike Pollock just do a really, like, General Saunders is just this hyper-competent military guy. He's got all of these well-laid-out plans to deal with Nobuo, which feels really weird because you know...
Are they implying that the U.S. of A might be dubious and doing some shady things behind the scenes?
He definitely comes off as like the most confident and smug guy in the room, and Bill just reflects that really well.
Oh, yeah. Bill's just got this aura of like strength and swagger to him that he just carries in his delivery, where it's just like, it's clear your prime minister has already given up. Why not hand us the reins and give us a shot at this? And but no, Bill's just got such a cool, like, strong aura to him, where he's just like, I know what I'm doing. Don't mess with us. We've got everything under control, and we're gonna make this work in our favor.
And, you know, it honestly felt like he was aware of what was going to happen before any of this actually went down. Like he was prepared with the guys in the astronaut suits. Pretty much as soon as Nobuo woke up and was on his way.
Got it. I'm just gonna say this right now, just because it was the first thing that came to mind. As soon as I saw those Space Force... Oh god, I ruined my own punchline. Shit. I literally saw the astronaut space suits guys. I turned to Steph when I was rewatching this. I'm like, oh, so that's what the Space Force is. Got it.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, I love the fact that Mike Pollock just took no shit from anyone.
He was clearly the most exhausted guy in the room.
He was the most exhausted guy, but he was like, let's put it like this, when it comes to the discussion of bureaucracy and like leaders or people in control, like the general officer is the most like actual like this is a man who actually feels like he truly leads. Because there's just a level of, it's like, we have literally no time to point fingers and bitch at who's at fault here. This thing is moving, this is active, people are dying as we're talking like now. Let's figure this the fuck out. And like, when everything's all doom and gloom, he's not even like mad at the fucking pharmaceutical bootlickers. He's just like, alright, you should go home. It's clear that we're all going to die. The least you can do is go home and be with your families. Like, there's a level of empathy, strength, and frustration in his delivery where it's like, this is actually somebody who would lead the country and do what he can to, like, make sure stuff doesn't go awry. And he also might have been the wise guy who thought, hey, how do we stop Nobuo? Let's send 200 attack choppers to fucking shoot him. Okay, so maybe he's not the greatest leader. I don't know. But no, I think... Okay.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah, my favorite scene actually involves all four of them, and it's at the very end of the movie when the after the capture operation was supposedly successful, and then the astronaut suit guy comes back to the
oh my god,
to the office to deliver
and
the briefcase.
he hands Nirasaki the briefcase.
And then he pushes the button that turns off the opacity on the helmet. And it's Nobuo, which he then promptly removes the suit and hotboxes the entire room with the death gas.
And with that, just KOs the entire fucking cast. Oh my god. So... Anyways, yes, I really liked Bill and Mike in particular. They have really good deliveries and strength in their performances, and no, I think this whole War Council group was really fun, really interesting, and I'm pretty sure you had somebody from every talent pool in there. You got the guy from Canada, you've got the guy from Scotland, you got the guy from California, and you've got the guy from New York in a Dallas-based dub. And that's pretty goddamn cool. And yeah, so, rounding us off, we are here to talk about a guy who's just got a really bad cold. Nobuo Tanaka. He is a worker at the pharmaceutical company that has been developing a secret weapon project that he did not know anything about. He's just got a bad cold and doing research. But So is this dude colorblind? I think this dude might actually be colorblind.
It's never explicitly stated, but I'm pretty sure either he's colorblind or he mixed up the directions he was given, because there are also, I noticed on the desk, a red bottle of blue pills.
It was exactly that's what it was. There was a red bottle of blue pills.
Yeah, the bottle he took was a blue bottle with red pills.
With red pills. Which, man, when you think about it, Omaida, you really should not have put those two bottles right next to each other. That could have gone so wrong so fast. And guess what? It did. But who's playing our unlucky, unfortunate little schmuck? That would be one Stephen Fu. Stephen Fu, who has played such characters as Kitahachi in Robbie Hachi, Machio Naruzo in How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Live, Auntie in SSSS Gridman, and of course, Ryo Saiba from City Hunter, Shinjuku Private Eyes. Patrick, what do you think about our good buddy Nobuo here?
I just love the fact that Stephen Fu plays him as such a dweeb. Like, it is... The one thing I really loved about watching Stink Bomb was... like, the Japanese government is sending, like, every force imaginable to him to try and kill him before he reaches the... the military complex to kill everybody. Even though he doesn't know that that's what's gonna happen. But he's just an absolute dork at every turn, and somehow that dorkiness deflects literally everything that is thrown at him.
Like, without explaining any context about this, he is like Nagito Komaida to me. He is so unlucky, but simultaneously the most lucky at the same time. He has the world's worst luck, but the world's best luck simultaneously.
Like, he is like he is the living embodiment of the devil's luck, which is luck that's so bad it turns back around into good luck.
Yep. Very much so. And I'll say, just because I brought it up, because I believe last year, were you on the episode for Shinjuku Private Eyes last summer of the movies?
Dude, I was with you. It was for Dragon Quest.
Right! Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah.
We had an entire reaction GIF that became an emoji on one of the group servers.
I'm trying.
I just remember we covered that last year, and my main thing was just I wanted a reference where it's like, because Ryo Saiba is to be the exact opposite of what Nobuo is, because Ryo is cool, confident, smug, cool guy, pervert, swagger, and Nobuo is basically like, he will trip over his shoelaces and like break his nose or something and then get pantsed on the way to work.
No, Ryo isn't. He's an absolute dork, but he's a somewhat competent dork.
Okay, see, he carries, that's at least the way I feel like Steven plays him, is that he's played like a pencil-pushing loser, but he is simultaneously the most unstoppable force in the fucking world. Nothing in the world was preparing me when I saw him going through the tunnel and there was 200 to 300 like attack helicopters launching missiles at him from the air.
And somehow all of them missed.
All of them missed. Like, that shot was like the funniest thing in the entire goddamn world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they destroyed a few neighborhoods, but...
Oh, he has basically, like, killed at least a percentage of the Japanese continent by this point. It's ridiculous. But, my god, like, Steven plays him up as, like, this very, like, quirky... He is also charming, too. Like, cause he doesn't mean any harm. He genuinely is, like, a fine, good dude. He's just really... really dumb at picking up on everything around him.
Yeah, I really do appreciate the constant sense of panic Steven gives him. It's great.
He is just sweating up a storm, and that is literally how he is, killing everyone.
Yeah, I appreciate, like, one of the best things about how dead she is that when this whole thing goes down initially, while he's at the office, he doesn't even think, like, oh my god, all these people are dead. It's like, oh no, everyone's unconscious. Like, dude.
Read the room.
That's the thing about Nobuo, is like, if you think we're awkward and don't understand social cues, this man can't even read the fact that there are bodies dropping because he's that smelly. Like, that's what it is that he is smart, but he is not people smart. He's not, he is, like, he is brain smart, but he's not street smart.
Right.
But god, Steven just makes him so charming and, like, genuinely endearing in the weirdest way. Where it's like, man, I shouldn't be rooting for this guy, but I kind of want to root for the guy despite the fact that he is basically just a fucking massacre.
Yeah, it is definitely very odd that they casted Steven here, because it's definitely not the kind of role I would otherwise associate him with.
Exactly, like he's got a lot of like either like cool guy or very like quiet, edgy guys too. But
yeah, like the first.
Because I think Auntie is just like this very like dark edgelord before he grows into his own person, and then like Ryo Saiba and Machio is just this very sweet, happy, swole dude who is just really helpful and cool. Like, all of these characters I listed are the antithesis of what Nobuo Tanaka is. He is just a fucking dork. And I love this little asshole. So, actually, just because I don't really know where else to put it, but this is something I found fucking fascinating. Because they actually mentioned something. Did you know that the entirety of the Stink Bomb short is loosely inspired by a real-life case
That does not surprise me.
Specifically, the incident, they called it, like, the incident with some... I'm going to keep her name anonymous for respect, but she is listed in the liner notes. They called her the toxic lady or the toxic woman, where she basically a number of hospital staff became extremely ill after exposure to her body and blood. Like, a lot of them had to get minor treatment, and a couple of them had to get were severely impacted because of these thing with her blood. She was being treated with like late stage cervical cancer, and she would wind up like coming back and like effectively like dying in the hospital. But it was apparently like what happened is that apparently this woman had been self-administering dimethyl sulfoxide as a treatment for her pain, which converted into sulfate, an extremely poisonous and highly carcinogenic agent, via like a series of chemicals in the emergency department. Basically, she had been injecting a bunch of chemicals into herself that mixed with her blood effectively became like an actually like poisonous, toxic chemical.
Dang.
Yeah. And it's like, some of it is like a mass hysteria, not like 100% proven, but it was like a real thing that happened, and like a lot of people have thoughts about like what actually happened or what didn't, but it's basically like sort of like a crazy medical mystery that was what's inspired the core concept of stink bomb being like a weapon of mass destruction inspired by Nobuo's own bodily fluids. And honestly, that's just stink bomb in a nutshell. Which, this is basically as dark a comedy as it gets. This movie ends on a body count of thousands, but it is simultaneously... It's probably the funniest movie in this set. And that's insane to me, because it's basically just a dark comedy that's contrasting with the insanely dark, fucked up scenario mixed with a lot of goofy, wacky hijinks and fucking ska music. Also, the soundtrack of this is actually a goddamn banger. Like, it's really jazzy and funky and really fun.
Yeah.
It is very clear that this whole thing is contrasting with itself, but by God, not only was this whole short entertaining, the dub of this was solid.
Yeah, this was a really fun dub, really fun little flick. It is definitely very interesting. It's definitely a very interesting contrast to the movie that comes before it and after it.
Mm-hmm.
Where Magnetic Rose is like space horror, and Cannon Fodder is like very depressing war commentary. And then this is just weird dark humor, but it works somehow.
That it does.
Like, it is very much on a par with something like a Doctor Strangelove or Brazil, where it's just like the incompetence of the people on top is played to such comedic effect that even though there's a pretty hefty body count underneath, like, you're still laughing your ass off.
Very much so. But yeah, without a doubt, this one was extremely entertaining. And like, this has things to say about like salaryman and the Japanese government, while simultaneously being an absurdist, like, quirky film. And I kind of admire the creativity, the balls, and the execution of this, which, God, this, like, I'll say this, the upscale of this is goddamn gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like, you could definitely tell, like, they had some really impressive cuts. Like, the entire scene of like the spacemen in the tunnel with him, like, that is gorgeous. Like, that looks gorgeous in the up-res, my God. And yeah. And with that was Stink Bomb, the stinkiest bomb.
A stink bomb that wasn't a bomb. A critical bomb.
And that was Stink Bomb. Alright, gentlemen, I think it's about time we wrap this up and... You guys hear that? That sounded like a really loud...
Huh?
Yeah, no, it sounded like a really loud bang.
Yeah, really
bang. Hey guys?
What?
What's
what
that big metal tube up there? It looks like it's slowly coming towards us.
What metal?
Yeah,
that's a missile.
Oh god!
That's a missile.
Oh god!
Oh no!
Oh, we are gonna die, aren't we?
Oh god! Oh, fuck!
Remember me as I lived. Blet!
You guys hear that? Kind of sounds like an explosion or something. I don't know. Probably just me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the season finale of Summer at the Movies. This is for the section of the Cannon Fodder section of the 1995 film Memories. This one directed by Katsuhiro Otomo himself. It is a very, very short... It's the shortest section of the film, and as such, tends to be overlooked kind of for the rest of the movie, but it's charming in its own ways, and it's short, sweet, to the point, and its plot summary is as follows. Cannon Fodder takes place in a grim, futuristic military city in which every citizen's purpose in life is training to help fire cannons at an unknown enemy. Fun. And so to cover this, I've brought along my good friend Lack the Watcher.
Hello, everybody. Make sure to fill your gun with your torpedo.
Yes. And as a very special guest, we have someone who actually worked on the Blu-ray disc of the film. Please welcome Logan.
Hey, everybody.
All right. So, considering the shortness of this segment of the film, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. So this is going to be pretty quickly, but then we have a few things lined up for afterwards. But let's get right into it. Starting off for our English staff, we have our ADR director is Emily Fajardo. Our translation is done by Neil Nailman. And our scriptwriter and ADR producer is Justin Tsvakis. Emily Fajardo, she has done the only other lead direction she has done is for Therma Romai. She's also been assistant ADR director in Stink Bomb, the previous segment, and also Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Neil Nailman needs no real introduction. He's been around the business for a long time working as a translator. He's worked on the Mobile Suit Gundam movies, even. Most recently, he also worked on the Legend of the Galactic Heroes OVAs and movies. So he's been around.
I was going to ask about, if this is going to be the same staff from the other shorts, but...
Well, that's interesting because there are actually two studios worked on this one film.
Okay.
NYAV Post did Magnetic Rose, and then Sound Cadence did both Stink Bomb and Cannon Fodder. But they had two different directors between the two of those shorts. So anyways, Justin Tsvakis, this is actually his first writing credit, I believe. You said that, Logan?
Yeah, pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah. He's mainly known for the actual production of the discs and the authoring and everything. So this is a first-time achievement for him. And as such, because of the nature of this dub, because it only has 6 credited characters to the entire short, it lives and breathes on the background characters. So, Lack, why don't you start us up? What was your general impression of the direction and the writing for this particular segment.
The first thing that kind of stuck out to me while I was watching this is that this dub actually has a really timeless feel to it. And I don't really know how I can explain that exactly, but something about it, it feels like it either could have come out today or it could have come out 20 years ago. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. I just mean that it doesn't feel like... It feels like it could have come out the same year that Memories actually came out. Like, nothing about it feels overproduced or, like, just trying too hard, I guess. It just feels like it's a true blue dub of this project, and that it doesn't... It feels like it executes itself very well in... Like... I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach this. Mostly what I'm getting at is that I feel like in 20 years or so, this is going to have the same feeling it does watching it right now. And
sort of a timelessness.
Yeah, a timelessness, and just... I don't know, yeah, it feels like it could have been made the year that Memories actually did come out, as much as it feels like it came out, this year. So, I think it helps that it's not a dialogue heavy dub. Like, it's trying, like it would be like trying to dub Angel's Egg,
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty easy, like, to... I don't want to say easy, but it's simplistic in its approach. And it's good that they kept it simplistic in its approach. So...
It doesn't sort of overwork its welcome or something.
Yeah, and, we're not living in an age now where people feel the need to, like, overdub something or something like that. I mean, if this had come out, like, 30 years ago, there probably would have been, like, so much added dialogue to it. But at the same time, it just really feels like it's going to, stand the test of time.
Right. Logan, what are your thoughts on the how it turned out?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with, it's got kind of, I guess, a rustic quality almost would be a good way to put it. When you're coming off of...
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it, rustic.
Yeah, like yeah. When you're coming off of, the first two segments go from a futuristic, sci-fi story to a relatively, modern day, comedic short. And then you go into this, kind of retro feeling, steampunk thing.
Yeah, like a steampunk fairy tale almost.
Yeah, and so, like you said, it doesn't feel overproduced and feel too modern. It has that rustic feel that really just, fits so well with what the overall theming of the short itself is supposed to be like.
Right. Yeah, it's Cannon Fodder kind of gets overlooked compared to the other two, but it's just as deserving of adoration as the other two. And I think this dub doesn't overstay its welcome, and it feels like it fits. Maybe there are a few choices regarding giving characters accents, but I'll get to that when I get to those characters. That maybe they took a little bit of.
As an anthology, Memories feels a little mismatched. I'll say that, but that's neither here nor there, and that has nothing to do with the dub. So,
yeah. As far as the writing is concerned and the translation, everything turned out really, really good. I like how they're making the old wives are sitting around and making jokes about who's sleeping with who. And, right. I think it's a nice way. It's a nice way to taper things down after the, insanity that was Stink Bomb and all that Magnetic Rose was. It's kind of a mellow way, and it's odd saying that it's mellow when we're talking about a short that's based around an entire city that does nothing but fire bombs.
Well, it's deliberately satirical, so
right, yeah.
So there's always going to be kind of that tongue-in-cheek element to it. So
anyway, I think considering that this was done, I think there was only I watched the documentary behind the scenes for the whole film, and there was only one actress who was not recorded remotely. Everyone else was recorded from home. Considering that this was done, and this was really only Emily's second full-time project that she directed entirely herself, I think that stands a lot for the quality of her directing, because while we don't have many credited characters, we have tons of background characters. And they all got to sound unique. They all got to sound different. They all got to put their unique spin on it. And the fact that they were able to pull this off remotely just is honestly, it's amazing to me. So.
Yeah.
And as far as the writing is concerned, I know that this was a movie that was very near and dear to Justin's heart. And so I think he did a good job, all things considered, throughout the entire film. I think that this segment is often forgotten, but I think it's sort of like a hidden gem.
Right. I feel like it might have stood out better in something like Robot Carnival.
Yeah.
Even though it's not robots, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Certainly would have stood out good in like Neo Tokyo.
Yeah. If it was in Robot Carnival, it'd only been 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
And it would have been backed by 80s glam music.
Hey, I'm down for that.
Oh yeah.
I think Cannon Fodder is great as is, but if they wanted to tweak it that way, I'd be fine with it. So
yeah. All right. So that's all we really have to say as far as the writing and directing is concerned. We're gonna blast this pretty quick. Blast. I made a pun. We're gonna blast through this pretty quickly because we've only got 6 credited characters, and of the first 3, we have the teacher, the operator, and the commander. The teacher is played by Michael Sorick. The operator is played by Philip Sacramento, and the commander is played by Ray Hurd. Michael Sorick, you obviously have heard him in shows like Mob Psycho 100, and what else has he done recently? He is the...
He's done some Cyborg 009 stuff.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Funny thing about Philip Sacramento, this is his very first anime credit, but he's been in some indie games, and believe it or not, he's based out of Northern Ireland.
Huh.
Yeah. But this is his only anime credit so far. Ray Hurd, you've most recently heard him in Fire Force's Sharon, and he was also in Legend of the Galactic Heroes Die Neue These as Sydney Sithole. I keep looking at this character's name, and I swear it says shithole.
Sydney Sithole.
Sydney Sithole, yes. Yeah, and also he's Kizaru in One Piece. So, Lack, what was your... These characters only usually have like 1 or 2 lines between all 3 of them.
Yeah,
so,
didn't the commander just say fire?
I think that's literally it. Ray Hurd said 1 word in this entire movie.
It was a good word. He did a great job saying that 1 word.
Yes, big, boom, deep voice. Fire!
The operator yells at the dad, right?
I think it's either him or it's the guy up in the box. I can't tell. This movie doesn't tell you what its characters are.
I'm gonna assume he's the dad's boss who yells at him. So that's what I'm gonna assume. And I'm gonna say, if this is wrong, I apologize. But I'm gonna say, again, everybody just felt right. It came together nicely because of the fact that there was there was a grittiness, going back to the gritty. This is it's a great animated movie, but it's not a super pretty anime to look at. It's not meant to be.
Right.
So
it's meant to be greasy and grimy.
Yeah, because that's the point. Like it's great in how ugly it is. I'll say that. I think that's the best way I can put it. And I wouldn't say the voices are ugly, but I will say that they're down to earth. And I think the best example of that is the operator. I think he's got a great, lower class blue collar boss voice, which I think is exactly the kind of thing you would need for that kind of character. I mean, yeah, I like Michael Sorich. I liked him a lot in Cyborg 009, the Cyborg Soldier. That's mostly what I know him for. I don't remember much of the teacher.
He has this like faux German accent.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Michael Sorich usually does that kind of stuff.
He's in one scene in the entire short, and he only has one line, but it's a very, very big line with lots of fast-moving words, all done in German. Or the heavy German accent, so.
Right. Well, there was clearly some, like, World War I influence to this whole thing.
Right.
So, I'm kind of surprised there weren't more German accents, honestly, but, accents have never really bothered me much in dubs, honestly. I think that you got to be careful with them, but I think they do add a little character to a dub sometimes when they're done right.
Right.
And it didn't bother me here because I was just like, yeah, they're like World War I German soldiers, so sure, German accent, that's fine by me. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Logan, what did you think of these three performances?
Yeah, I mean, kind of going back again to the same thing, like Lax said, the kind of down to earth feeling, it's with the commander and everything, and his boss, the operator, both of them, you get that militaristic attitude where, you don't really need a whole lot of, emotion or anything to it outside of, these are guys that are barking orders, and it's one of those things where you have to kind of balance, how much it's a dry delivery without it feeling so dry that it feels phoned in, I guess, would be the way I'd look at that. So for those two, I think, it really worked out, even with just one word, being fire, it's, you've got to really give that commanding performance, even if it's just the one word.
Just imagine Ray Hurd in the booth going, fire, 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 fire.
Because they have to do those multiple times.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you said with the teacher, he doesn't have a whole lot of a scene in particular, but it's so rapid fire and throwing in that accent, it adds just enough flavor to the scenery, I guess is a good way to put it. And it just kind of elevates it a little bit more to to fit what we're watching.
Right. He's only in one scene, but he's going to chew that scenery as big as he can. So, yeah. No, I have to echo what you guys say. These three really did not have much to say, but then again, this short is only 22 minutes long, and most characters, even the lead ones, have like one line at most. And so, I mean, if you're only going to have one line, you might as well go big for it. So, and I think that's what Michael Sorich did with the little faux German accent. I think they didn't have to do it, but he said, you know what, let's just stick this on there and, give it some color.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they did it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And they ultimately decided that they liked the German accent better.
Right.
I think that's usually how this sort of thing goes.
Yeah. No, one thing I did mention is that I watched the behind the scenes, and Emily herself said that for a large section of the short, it's basically just people shouting out what they're doing. Because, yeah, it's like, load
like most anime.
Yeah. Like, load the nozzle loaded. What was it? Another one. Like, was it loading gunpowder charge? Loading gunpowder charge loaded. And that's like, that's basically the dialogue for the film.
I'm sure they were kind of glad that there weren't that many lip flaps, at least.
Oh, no, yeah. It's lots of gas masks. That helps out immensely. Yeah. But anyways, so that's 3 of our 6 credited characters. Let's go on to arguably our main characters. We have the boy, as Kratos would say. The boy, his father, and his mother. They don't have any names. None of the characters are named, and they just seem to be a typical, not dysfunctional, but just typical family living in this definitely dysfunctional town. So, yeah.
This high-functioning dysfunctional town.
Yeah, both the father and the mother both work for the cannon company, and the boy goes to school to learn about cannons. So that's basically the world we live in.
See, I got the impression, before we get into the actual actors, I got the impression they're not actually fighting anyone.
Like they're just shooting bombs out into the wilderness?
Yeah, my thought was, we never see the enemy. I don't think they're actually fighting anyone.
Either that or they've already blown them up and they just don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't even show the enemy in, like, the TV.
Yeah. I have thoughts about the ending, and I'll get to in final thoughts, but...
that they all die?
I do think so. I think they got nuked.
I thought that was the implication, too, is that they end up dead. So...
Yeah, no. Now, all 3 segments are kind of sucks to be you segments in this movie, this trilogy.
Yeah, why is it called Memories?
Yeah, it's everyone fucking dies.
I guess so.
Anyways, but I'm getting off track. Okay, so playing our family members, the boy is played by Jack Britton. The father is played by Mike Pollock. And the mother is played by Ellie Ray. Jack Britton, he is a child actor out of Houston. This is his only other, he only has one other credit, and that is Cumin in Suppose a Kid from the Last Dungeon Booties moved to a starter town.
His first anime was an isekai?
Actually, that was his second anime. This was his first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ellie Ray is also a new actress out of Houston, and her role is as Icho in Suppose a Kid from the Last Dungeon Booties moved to a starter town.
Did the staff work on that anime or something?
I think Emily did.
All right.
I'm not sure.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And Mike Pollock, needs no introduction. Yeah. You know who Mike Pollock is.
And a hedgehog! That didn't sound anything like him, but whatever. That sounded more like Sonic cartoon Eggman, if anything, but...
Oh, man. What is a good Eggman line? Like, ooh, that must be the pizza. Yeah. I'm the angriest man who's ever lived. Ooh, that must be the pizza. Anyways. Okay, so unfortunately, Mike Pollock has like one line in this.
I missed my wife tales. Sorry. Anyway.
Yes. Mike Pollock only has one line in this. But he was great in Stink Bomb, at least. So if you want to hear us talk about Mike Pollock, go watch the previous segment with Andrew.
He only had one line?
He did some grunting at the very beginning.
Okay.
And then at the very end, he says, you'll understand when you're older.
Right. No wonder I couldn't recognize that was Mike Pollock.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Luck, what did you have to say about these 3?
Ellie Ray was great as the mother. I loved the kind of Mrs. Costanza kind of thing she was going for. Honestly, I thought that was really fun. I had no idea that was Mike Pollock at all. When I saw his name in this cast list, I was like, oh my god, really? But I guess that makes sense. Jack Britton was great. I thought he was great as the boy, honestly. I think it, we've got kind of an Aaron Dismuke kind of situation where he didn't have to fall too many lip flaps. So I think they thought... Now, okay, I have a question. Do we know in the original Japanese dub if the boy was played by a child?
I do not know.
Okay.
I would say yes, because if I remember correctly, the Japanese actor was born in around 1983 or somewhere thereabouts. So,
he would have been 12.
Yeah, 12, right around there.
So
yeah.
that probably influenced their decision to have the boy actually played by a child.
Here's a fun fact. The Japanese actor is Peter Pan in Kingdom Hearts.
Nice. But yeah, everybody was really, really good here, especially Jack Britton. I think he brought a nice amount of innocence to the character. Like, you could tell, it was a child, like, trying to figure out how to dub, for the first time, obviously. I mean, this is a pretty big project for the first time, but it's also not that big of a project, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's prestigious, but it's not...
3 pieces.
It's prestigious, but it's not, like... It's not humongous.
It's low stakes.
Key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low stakes, high reward kind of thing. But yeah, I really liked him. I thought Mike Pollock was great as the dad for his his line, and I really liked Ellie Ray as the mother. I thought it was really fun. So, yeah.
Logan, what did you think?
Yeah, the way you described, the mother as the sort of Mrs. Costanza type is perfect. There's, they're kind of like if it were a 50s nuclear family, but, in the middle of like you said, World War I, and
yeah,
so
steampunk World War I.
Yeah, so there's something that just kind of worked about that sort of nasally voice, I guess is the way to put that. So I definitely liked that with her. Like you said, Mike Pollock, I mean, it's almost hard to tell it's him, especially when you're coming off of Stink Bomb and, the big role, the bombastic role he played there. It's such a switch to have him, playing really such a meek character like that. So I think that almost kind of disguises the fact that it's him. And then, with Jack Britton, this is a project that two different segments had two different child actors. And, historically, child actors in anything are sometimes difficult to wrangle and get a good performance out of. And the fact that, it all came together so well just really, I think, is a testament to everyone who was involved with selecting the various cast members and, really just, drilling it down and making it come together.
Yeah, I have to agree. As far as the individual performances go, I think the fact that the only reason I would say that Jack's performance was lacking in a bit is because he's a child actor. But I mean, it's not his fault. That's just in general due to lack of experience. And hopefully he gets to expand and as he grows up and hopefully he'll get more roles in the future. But for now, he's good for as far as child actors are concerned. Mike Pollock needs no introduction. He can read a phone book or anything, and people will listen. But Ellie Ray really chewed the scenery in every scene she was in, with her faux New York accent and "you get out of bed," or like "get out of bed and go to school. You're gonna be late. I backed your lunches." And she really gives the mom some sass, both in the opening scene and also when she's gossiping with all the ladies about, you never know how loose she is. I doubt it's even his kid. So, out of those three, she was probably the funnest to listen to. But I think it goes to stand that because even these three main characters don't really get to do much, the whole short really lives and dies on the strength of the background performances. Because it actually has a lot of cast members that they're just not credited. So we have to have all these different characters and different background characters and different background voices all done in this one 22-minute segment. And it's actually kind of impressive to do so much with basically so little. So I think going into final thoughts about Cannon Fodder, like I said before, it is the weakest of the three, but it's not saying it's still pretty darn good. Yeah. Maybe if they had put it in the middle and finished with Magnetic Rose instead of going off of it, maybe that would have take the sting out a little bit, but it does at the end of the movie kind of settle things down at a mellow point before the credits roll, and you hear the air raid and everyone gets nuked. So, thoughts on final thoughts on the Memories dub as a whole. What do you think, Black?
The Memories dub as a whole.
Yeah, the whole entire experience.
It was good. It was fun. Yeah, obviously Magnetic Rose kind of stands out because, first of all, it was the most dub-heavy of any of them. Stink Bomb was great. The high energy really balanced well with what was actually going on. I don't know if I really have that much else to say about the Memories dub itself. I think they all have a kind of a timelessness to them, and I think that Cannon Fodder really illustrates that very well. And I think this is just a really like worthy dub of something so iconic for anime like Memories. So,
Logan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, for all the production angles, for the stuff I worked on and the stuff that our team at Discotech worked on, and all the people in the at NYAV and at Sound Cadence, the whole thing, top to bottom, was a labor of love for all of us. I mean, it's not every day you get to work on something with such a prestigious background to it, and to be able to restore it and give it a dub after all this time. I mean, it's so typical that the older this stuff gets, the far less likely you're ever going to see a dub for it. And to go back to something from 1995 and be able to give it a dub, and something that I think just came together in all of its parts, for something that was put together between two different studios with remote recording for all of the cast except for one person. It's the kind of thing that shouldn't have come together the way that it did, and yet somehow everything fell into place. And just it's impressive to me that it turned out the way it did, and I'm proud to have been able to work on it.
Yeah, no, I fiddled around with the Blu-ray, and it's a really, you guys did a really great job.
Yeah.
With the menus and everything, and the behind the scenes footage, and I need to go back into like the storyboard parts. In fact, the Cannon Fodder is the one segment that has the entire storyboard as an animatic, right?
Yeah, that one you can watch the entire segment with the animatics animated together. One of our production people, Elaine, put that together.
That's very cool. Yeah, you guys did a great job. And yeah, before we end this episode,
and this
because
is me finding out that you work for Discount.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I see like a Discotech or Animego and I see Logan in the credits, it's like I pull up that clip from Yu Yu Yokio. It's like, I can see you, bitch. But no, since we have you here, Logan, one thing that we don't really talk about on Dub Talk is sort of the technical aspects of the Blu-ray authoring period. And as the subtitle editor for this movie, what were some of, how did things work basically? Because I know you got your subtitles obviously for the Japanese, but you've also got the subtitles for the on-screen text, which until I rewatched this, I didn't know that Cannon Fodder technically has a second title. Isn't it City of Guns or something like that?
Yeah, each of the segments has a secondary title, and yeah, I believe it is City. It's either City of Guns or City of Cannons. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but
right. So take us a bit into the technical aspects of laying down the subtitles and making sure that everything works right and everything runs properly if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for something like this, the advantage I have is we're working off of an existing translation. So usually the first thing I have to do is we'll take an old script, a lot of times we just will rip them from the old DVDs, or if they're provided to us, we use a subtitling program called Aegis Sub. It's a freeware program. The fan subbing world tends to use it quite a bit, but it turns out it actually works really well for commercial production too, when you have someone like Justin who knows how to harness what it can do and convert it over to work with a Blu-ray. So what I do is I get usually a low resolution. It's technically it's not really low resolution. It's the full screen res. So something like this would be 1900 by 1080, and I take that and it's just kind of it's overly compressed because I don't need it to look good. I just need to be able to see the frames and time things. And effectively, I just sync up the subtitles and make sure that they're coming in at the right time, and they don't hang on screen too long or they don't disappear too quick, things like that. There's some technical stuff you have to watch out for with overlaps and things like that. basically the subtitles have to be on screen for a minimum of 6 frames, or otherwise they don't really work because of the way the Blu-ray specification works for refreshing a subtitle image. Usually that's not too big of a deal. Sometimes that gets a little iffy with timing, like signed subtitles, especially when you're dealing with a dub. Sometimes it gets a little iffy, but you can work around that. But yeah, basically you just kind of go through, and what's nice is I have full control over being able to position things. So if there's a sign caption or whatever, I can put it right where the sign is, and I can mess around with the styling and all kinds of stuff. And then for a dub track, usually what I'll just do is I'll do everything on the signs track or the full subtitles track first, and then I just use kind of a shortcut and I sort everything by the type of style that we use. So whether it's a dialogue sub or a caption or a song, and then I just delete all the dialogue subs and then resave the file as a signs and songs track. So usually exporting the signs and songs for a dub takes all of about 20 seconds.
Oh wow, that's not time at all. So do you have a personal preference of subtitles that you like to? Do you like to do more like the big flashy fan subtitle, like the karaoke, the subs, or do you like to keep things basically,
Do you like
straight?
to do the John Wick super animated subtitle?
Well, so I like to do the animation and stuff like that, although unfortunately because of that 6-frame limitation, stuff like doing fades and moving subtitles and things like that really aren't possible within the Blu-ray spec. You would have to burn that into the video, which, of course, there are people out there that will say, oh, that's fine, we'd rather it look nice. There are people that, no, I don't want anything touching the video, like leave the video completely alone. Most of us don't mess with the video.
A lot of AMV makers get really upset when subtitles are locked.
Yeah.
Right, and, I like doing stuff with kind of trying to jazz it up when I can. Realistically, the biggest problem with doing that is just the sheer amount of extra time it takes. When I'm dealing with a movie or an OVA, it's usually not too bad to give it a little extra flair. When you're dealing with a 50 episode, robot series from the 80s, sometimes it's just like you have to look at it and go, this isn't worth spending that extra time on. And, you'd like to, but it's just, the reality is there's just not enough time in our production schedule to throw that level of styling at it.
Right. You can't give it the same amount of love and attention that you do with something like Memories.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And if anybody who watched our last live stream back in June, we showed off some of the stuff I did with the upcoming Loop on the Third Part 5 sets. And
I'm super stoked for, by the way.
Yeah. Those were a lot of work, and for a 24 episode show to style that stuff up, it's definitely worth it in the long run. But I think, it's just unfortunately not realistic to do that on a regular basis. So,
because
I was about to ask you if I had heard you out some of the Disco Tech Day streams. But...
Yeah, I was one of the co-hosts on this latest one because Justin and Brady were busy with some production stuff and keeping things rolling. So myself and Mark, our QC guy, were invited to join Mike, and that was a lot of fun.
No, you always have a good time at a discotheque day, so
yes. We try to make it exciting for everyone.
It's fun. I still wait for the day one day you guys find the Phantom Blood movie and release it. So.
Or that monster re-release, good luck.
People are always asking for that one. I know that much.
Well,
oh yeah, anything Urasawa related. Yeah.
The day that you guys find the film reels for the Lost Phantom Blood movie is the day I'll be very happy from you guys.
I'll tell you the amount of stuff that has been found since the Eiko discovery. I obviously can't say what's coming down the pipe, but it's not just Eiko that's been rediscovered. I can say that there's a lot of interesting stuff that's in the works, and we'll see what happens with some of it. I mean, a lot of it was we found it, and whether we can do anything with it is another story. But
right.
It's it's definitely, I think, even for stuff that Discotek doesn't have. I mean, since a lot of this came about thanks to Robert Woodhead at Animego and looking for Maddox, I think there's a lot of potential for plenty of companies, even not just us. For things that could be coming down the pipe now that these film reels have been popping up.
My favorite announcement.
Plenty of companies.
My favorite announcement for the last live stream was the fact that you guys got Matt McMuscles to do a commentary on Fatal Fury.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Mark, our QC guy, was saying that if we ever have occasion to redo the film, he'd love to see Matt do another commentary with Brady, because he really enjoyed the commentary on the OVAs, and I haven't heard it yet myself, but I figure if Mark liked it, then I expect I'm probably going to enjoy it myself.
I'm super excited to listen to it, but
yeah. No, you guys have been doing some great. I'm looking at my copy of 1001 Nights. I still can't believe you got that dub. That was lost to history.
Yeah, and my understanding was that was found because somebody had an old film copy of it that they had just had transferred to a DVD for some kind of like digital safekeeping, and the pieces came together to get us in touch with them, and they provided us with a copy of what they had, and we did that A/B comparison of the before and after, and that's exactly what it looked like. It was not in good shape, but we pulled it off. It's.
I still need to buy the Space Adventure Cobra TV show Blu-ray so I can listen to that experimental dub you guys did.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a shame it didn't come together and be able to go all the way through, but for the circumstances that it came to be, effectively a very excited fan who wanted to take a stab at it, and Mr. Discotek, as we like to call him, said, "Yeah, sure, go for it. Let's see what you can do." It's actually pretty solid quality. I was actually kind of surprised by how well it turned out for something that effectively came out as a fan dub. It's a shame it wasn't able to keep going, but for what it was not bad.
Yeah, Cobra's a dream role for me as an actor. So
yeah. No, my whole fan casting for Space Abridger Cobra would be having Lack as Cobra, and then I would be Crystal Boy, and I would play it sort of like David Bowie meets Tim Curry. Cobra.
I convinced because it was that like 6 different voices thing. I actually managed to convince one of my VA friends to voice Lady Armoroid, and she did a fantastic job. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
So
nice. Well, thank you, Logan, for all that.
This has been our backdoor pilot for Sub Talk. So.
Yeah. One of these days, we already had Sub Talk, and we talked about sandwiches the whole time.
Okay.
All right. So, any final thoughts? This actually ends our summer at the movies. So, thank you for joining us the past 2 months. We've hoped that you've enjoyed some good reviews about some great movies. As always, we are Dub Talk. You can find us. You're probably watching us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter, on Twitch, where Megan and Stephanie are currently streaming Okami, Fire Emblem, and I think The Wolf Among Us. So check out their Switch channel. You can also find us on our MP3 formats on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean, I believe. If you'd like to contribute to us directly, we have both a Ko-fi account as well as a Patreon account, and it is time to read off our Dub Talk patrons. For our $5 tier, we have Megan's mom and dad, Michelle Travis, Miraculous Corazon, Nico Robin, but with Yowie hands, Jackson, Sue Tweet, and Victor Maybaroda. For our $10 tier, we have Carly Leistokow, Crimson Echidna, Jacob Wilson, Jared Hawkins, Julia W., Marissa Linty, Millicent Sorby, and Otaku Anthony. And so, with that, Lack, where can we find you these days?
Best places to find me is at Twitter and TikTok at Lack the Watcher. I am also streaming every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday if I'm not doing D&D with my friends. You can find me at lack_the_watcher100. I might change the name later on to make it a little simpler. But yeah, currently I'm making my way through Final Fantasy VII Remake, Blade of Fury, and 2 Point Hospital. So those are a lot of fun. But yeah, if you want to keep up with my voice acting stuff, I've got a big fun project that I'm doing with a friend coming up. Spoilers, it's Joseph Joestar meets Lady Dimitrescu. That's going to be a lot of fun. Oh,
nice.
It might already be out, maybe not by the time this comes out. We'll see. But yeah, again, you can check me out at Like the Watcher on Twitter and TikTok, and just follow me there, and you should be able to see all my stuff. So,
Logan, where can we find you?
I'm at Schmollis1 on Twitter, and beyond that, you'll probably find me working on hopefully your favorite discotheque titles.
Well, you're already working on Lupin, so that's been covered. So.
All right, and I'm Spaceman Hardy. You can find me over at the Funimation Discord. The forums are dead. Also find me at Spaceman Hardy on Twitter. I complain a lot. I occasionally post goat pictures. I retweet a lot of Final Fantasy fan art, and I'm just a 38-year-old curmudgeon living in my parents' attic. So, fun. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us the past 2 months. We hope you've had a wonderful summer at the movies. And until next year, Otaku on, my friends.
Good night.